The Tao that can be spoken of is not the constant Tao. The name that can be named is not a constant name. That paradox from the opening of the Tao Te Ching establishes the baseline of Taoist ontology. Human language is engineered to create rigid boundaries. We use words to isolate, categorize, and build distinct, separated conceptual boxes. But language is structurally unequipped to describe a continuous, unlimited process. Tao translates to the way. It is not a static creator deity. It is the process of reality, the way things come together and transform. Classical Western philosophy obsesses over permanent states of being, what things definitively are. The Taoist baseline operates on the assumption that constant change is the fundamental character of existence. When we try to freeze reality with a label, the universe has already moved on. The 10,000 things, the Taoist term for the material world, are ceaseless and fluid in their alteration. Trying to master a fluid universe by strictly defining it is like trying to hold water by clenching your fist. The tighter you squeeze the definitions, the faster reality slips through your fingers. Accepting that our words and labels will always fall short is the mandatory first step to actually interacting with this correlative ontology. Chapter 8 of the Tao Te Ching provides the primary physical representation of this process: water. Water naturally flows downward. It settles into the lowest, darkest places that humans typically avoid, physically aligning itself with humility. It sustains all living things, yet it never contends. If a rock blocks the stream, the water does not fight it. It simply yields, navigating smoothly around the obstacle. This behavior illustrates the mechanics of correlative forces, expressed as yin and yang. Reality ebbs and flows, constantly alternating between active and passive, leading and following. The physics here run counter to human intuition. Over time, the yielding, formless water will entirely carve away the seemingly indestructible, rigid stone. True metaphysical strength is found in adaptability. Hardness and resistance are points of mechanical failure. Watching water overcome stone gives the Taoist the exact physical blueprint for how to navigate reality. The human agent who actually comprehends and aligns with this flow is called the sage, or the perfected person. The sage's primary cognitive task is unlearning. They must reject the rigid demarcations human society creates, starting with the strict division between good and evil. The Tao Te Ching points out that cultural binaries are artificially engineered concepts, not natural laws. As Chapter 2 notes, as soon as the world knows beauty as beautiful, ugliness is born. The Taoist diagnosis is that these human-engineered values are the actual source of our societal frustration. They tangle our relationships and fragment our understanding. The philosopher Zhuangzi argued that anyone hoping to unite with a natural process must first drop this heavy baggage of conventional opinions. To the outside world, shedding these cultural ambitions makes the sage look dull, unlearned, or even foolish. They refuse to compete for what society values. Instead, the sage embodies pu, translated as uncarved wood. It represents a state of plainness and total, unrestricted natural potential. This puts Taoism in direct conflict with Confucianism. Confucians want to take that block of wood, carve it, polish it, and decorate it with social etiquette. Wisdom is not the accumulation of more intellectual data. It is the active shedding of societal constructs until only the natural grain remains. Western philosophy has spent millennia obsessing over substance, the accumulation and categorization of solid matter. This diagram illustrates Chapter 11, proving reality operates on the void's functional power. 30 spokes converge, but wheels rotate because of the empty hub. We mold clay, yet empty space holds water. We build walls, but habitation occurs in the empty space within. The sage applies this exact physical principle to human consciousness. By emptying the mind of conventional desires, they create the internal space required to become a vessel for the Tao. This mental void allows their internal energies, their qi, to concentrate, allowing them to move through the world without friction. Emptiness is not a lack of existence. It is the ultimate, required condition for any utility or generation to occur. For centuries, Western academics mistranslated the concept of Wu Wei as doing nothing, leading to a misconception that Taoism requires total passivity. Wu Wei accurately translates to effortless action or non-willful action. It is a highly calibrated behavior that aligns perfectly with the current of reality. The practitioner deliberately takes their hands off the controls of life. They refuse to artificially orchestrate or force outcomes. Trying to actively engineer reality creates mechanical resistance. That friction ruins both the individual trying to force the issue and the project itself. The Zhuangzi illustrates this with the story of Butcher Ding. His blade never dulls even after 19 years because he doesn't hack through bone. He cuts strictly along the natural empty spaces between the ox's joints. Wu Wei is not a mechanical skill you can cultivate through repetition. It is the spontaneous byproduct of achieving oneness with the Tao. The most highly effective action leaves no trace, expending zero energy fighting against natural fissures. These theoretical physics were not kept in the abstract. Historical Taoist masters integrated this philosophy directly into geographic communities. They did not draw a line between philosophy and religion. These concepts were blended directly into dietary regimens, longevity practices, and community rulership. They operated on the physical law of survival outlined in Chapter 76. The living are soft and supple, while the dead become hard and stiff. Rigidity is fatal. Whether it is a tree branch facing a storm or a human mind facing a crisis, stiffness guarantees snapping. Longevity is achieved by shouldering the yin, the receptive, passive state, and embracing the yang, the active state, in perfect harmony. By placing oneself last and remaining entirely empty, the sage is inevitably filled and brought to the forefront. By yielding completely to reality's flow, the practitioner masters the universe simply by becoming indistinguishable from it.